What's going on, all you Minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for my overview of the Warlock by Jim Starlin Gallery Edition from Marvel Comics. So, let's get started. Before getting started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us a copy of this Gallery Edition. This Gallery Edition is kind of weird because some people overseas have had it for over a month. Some people from the book market have already had it for a couple of weeks, but it officially came out today in direct market and book market. So that's why I decided to wait until do this overview instead of doing an advance overview months ago. So this is the latest Gallery Edition. They are in hardcover format. We've had previous Gallery Editions before from Marvel Comics, such as this other masterpiece by Jim Starlin, The Death of Captain Marvel. And the main difference to note between the Gallery Editions and these Treasury Editions is that these are hardcover and the Treasury Editions are softcover, but they are the same dimensions as the Gallery Editions. Now, to give you a better idea of how much bigger these Gallery Editions are, here it is compared to the size of a Marvel Omnibus. So yes, it is taller and wider than your Marvel Omni. Now, let's take a closer look at this book. So, again, the front cover here, this very detailed, beautiful front cover by Jim Starlin. Then you have the spine with the image of Adam Warlock down at the bottom, the Marvel logo up here, and this little important gem. And then this other image by Jim Starlin. Now, the book doesn't have a dust jacket, it's just art on front and backboard, and of course the spine. And it retails for $50. This is the biggest Gallery Edition that Marvel has come out with. So let's actually open it up and check out the artwork, talk about the stories found in here, and then talk about the build of this particular Gallery Edition. All right, so let's get this book opened. And we're going to be talking about a little bit of the story of who the artist formerly known as him, or the artist formerly known as Warlock, because now he is going by Adam Warlock. I love this image. All those stars in the background. Here are all the credits. Again, we see this little gem. And that is the Soul Gem, of course. Made popular probably for a lot of people outside of comics because of the Marvel movies with Thanos. And they call them stones, though. But they were always gems in the Marvel Comics universe. So you have Jim Starlin just doing a lot of stuff here. You have him penciling, writing the story, inking, colors, but he does get some help from time to time. You have Steve Lealoha doing some of the finishes and inks at first, Al Milgrom, Alan Weiss, Joseph Rubinstein, just to name a few, and then you have some letterers and other colorers there. Colors. Uncanny Omar talk pretty well. Other colorist. Here's your table of contents. So kicking it off with Strange Tales number 178. So this is a really interesting era for Adam Warlock because during this time he already had his own ongoing title. It kicked off, I think it was Roy Thomas and eventually Mike Friedrich took over. But then they decided to focus on Adam Warlock in the pages of Strange Tales. So who is Adam Warlock is how they start this off. And so let's actually talk about what's collected in here. So this does collect Strange Tales 178 to 181, Warlock 9 through 15, Avengers Annual 7, and Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 2. And we'll go back to the importance of those issues and why they skipped the first 8. So really quick, we meet this character right here named Sphinxor. And he pretty much gives you a recap of who Adam Warlock is, which is exactly what the title suggests. Who is Adam Warlock? Well, to sum it up really quick, he was a character that first appeared in the pages of the Fantastic Four, and he was engineered. He was created by this group of scientists known as the Enclave. And pretty much Adam Warlock, or only known as him at the time, figured out he could sense that they were going to do evil with him, so he decided to take off. Earth wasn't worthy. Eventually he runs into Thor. Eventually he runs into the High Evolutionary, who actually ends up giving him the Soul Gem and gives him the name Warlock before he goes to this Counter Earth. And on Counter Earth he meets somebody that calls him Adam Warlock, and that's where the name Adam Warlock comes in, and fights the Man-Beast and quickly catches you up to speed as to what Adam Warlock has been up to. So the first story introduces us to the concept of Magus. But before we talk about the story, I just want to point out how beautiful this looks in this oversized format. The amount of detail that Starlin, so Jim Starlin both inked, colored, wrote, and everything for the first few issues, but just the amount of detail on the clothing, the stars in the background, the technique he uses for his shadows on his faces. Like, I don't think I've appreciated Jim Starlin's artwork this much since, Death of Captain Marvel is one thing. That is a masterpiece on its own. But I read these originally, not as they were coming out, not quite that old, but in the 90s when Marvel was seeing the big hype for the Infinity Gauntlet, they started doing reprints, and they got me too, because I thought they were original comics, and I'm sure they're in the extras back here. I haven't had a chance to look at the extras, so we'll be looking at those together. But they had these, it was like a 5-issue limited series, 6-issue limited series, pretty much collecting what's exactly in this book. So long before collected editions, Marvel and DC did like 80-page comics or 64-page comics of just reprints and put a new cover on it, kind of like Marvel Tales with Spider-Man or X-Men Classic. But they saw the big hype for the Infinity Gauntlet and decided to cash in on it. I think they even put an Infinity title on one of them. I thought they were brand new issues, and then when I opened it up, I was like, oh man, this artwork looks old. Yeah, I was a foolish kid. I was blinded by the late 80s and early 90s artwork. Because this stuff is just beautiful to look at. So through these pages, you're going to get to meet the concept of Magus, who he is, why he is. Is he Adam Warlock? Now, he is a different Magus than you've read in the pages of the Infinity War. Because when I read this and then read Infinity War, holy crap, I was so confused. You get the introduction of Pip the Troll. This is really funny. This right here. Since Jim Starlin was doing just about everything, so the stories by, it's just his name with the letters mixed around. His inks and the colors. Pretty witty. Just look at those details, man. Yeah, I think this really makes the artwork pop out, the size of this particular book. Not only Pip the Troll, but you get, let me see if I can find some characters here. Okay, you get Krator, you get the Universal Church of Truth. Like I said, we'll look at Magus here in a little bit, but you also get the deadliest woman in the galaxy, Gamora. So this is where the three of them become friends. So when you open up the pages of Infinity Gauntlet, you're like, wait, who are all these people hanging out together? Well, that's where all of this takes place. So Roy Thomas, Mike Friedrich, and Gil Kane, and all those people wrote these first 8 issues of Warlock. And then comes in Jim Starlin and just takes over the book. Unfortunately, there was no issue 16, so he kind of wraps up his story within issue 15, but also in the pages of the Avengers annual. So here's Magus right here. And like I said, it's a different take on Magus than the one that you'll see later on, especially in DNA's Guardians of the Galaxy or in the Infinity War, the comic. So in this particular version, it's actually the future version of Adam Warlock. So it's himself that he has to fight. He's guiding Adam Warlock through all the steps, all the people that he's got to meet just to get to where he is going to be one day, where he will become the Magus. So we get to find out more about the Soul Gem, and you can find out exactly what ends up happening through these pages and the whole Universal Church. We have Jim Starlin bring in his character right here of Thanos, but not just Thanos, other characters too, like Star Fox show up. And there's a huge fight between Thanos and Adam Warlock. They team up. So this is really where the big struggle started through the pages of Warlock. So Strange Tales ends with issue 181, and it continues into the ongoing series of Warlock number 9. But later on is when you'll see, that his artwork is now being finished by other creators. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just, you'll notice the difference. You'll notice like less details. You'll notice almost like it feels a little bit rushed, but it's still gorgeous to look at. The In-Betweener shows up through these pages for the very first time. So all these big cosmic characters that you're going to be seeing later on in the Marvel Cosmic Universe. Not the movies, but well, hell, maybe the movies one day. But mainly like the future Silver Surfer title in the 90s. Because a lot of them were forgotten, especially these big three. Moondragon shows up. The team up. This is actually the team up here with the Avengers from the annual. And this is where, well, you'll see the big ending in this particular annual of what happens to Pip, Gamora, and to Adam Warlock. And you don't see them again for many years. You don't see them again until the Infinity Gauntlet. And then, of course, we have to wrap up the series, so I'm glad that they included it in here, but the Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 2. You do get a small little cameo of Adam Warlock. I thought it was a bittersweet cameo. But this is the big fight with Thanos, where he is also taken out of commission until the resurrection of Thanos in the pages of Silver Surfer. Now, let's look at the extras here, because there looks like there's a ton. Censoring that final page, because I'm not sure who all has read this particular story, or that particular ending from the Marvel 2-in-1, but this is really cool. I was just reading about this. So apparently there was supposed to be a continuation to the Warlock series. So this was supposed to be issue number 16 by Alan Weiss, and then Steve Laiola photocopied the unfinished pencils with Weiss's notes on here. So kind of give you like a little idea of what's going on in each page and where the story was going to go. And there are, I think, like 17 of these pages in there. Some a lot more finished and a little more detailed than others, but that is really cool. Over here we have a house ad. Over here we have one of the pages that had to be censored because of the comics code. They deemed it a little too violent. Pretty much this guy hanging upside down into that pit right there from that's from the Universal Church. Here we have something that Jim Starlin did, approved by the Cosmic Code Authority. I have never caught that. Some original artwork. Look at that, man. That is gorgeous and detailed. This is the classic cosmic stuff, man. So if you appreciate the modern cosmic stuff, I highly recommend reading a lot of the stuff where it started. And yes, I realize that Fantastic Four is really the big gateway to all the cosmic saga in the Marvel Universe, but this early stuff, I'd love for this and Captain Marvel to be collected one day. Maybe in an oversized hardcover, and I mean all the issues too. Maybe with Adam Warlock's early appearances. Here's the Foom cover. Of course, the calendars. I love those. These are fantasy masterpieces, reprints of some of the stories that you've read here. And these are reprints of Warlock from 1982. I don't remember these. These are covers by Jim Starlin, but reprinting the stories that you just read in here. And I cannot remember, but I'm pretty sure somebody will tell me where Starlin got that original design for Gamora. I think it was in the pages of Creepy magazine. There was a character that he saw that looks like the concept artwork for Gamora, so there was a total of 6 issues. So I guess these were kind of like what the 90s reprints were like. That is creepy. Some special edition pinups by him. And these were all found in the special edition right here by Al Milgrom. Oh, yes. The outdated handbook guide of the Marvel Universe. Deceased and active. Yeah. Not anymore. And talks a little bit about the Soul Gem right there. And what its powers can do. And why it's very important to the ending, pretty much, of that particular story. Yeah, these are the ones that I got. Look! The Infinity Effect? How the hell could I not pick that up as a teenager? I was like, oh man, how did I miss this? Nobody was advertising this. I got Red Infinity Gauntlet, and I know Infinity War is coming. I gotta pick up the Infinity Effect. Before the Infinity Gauntlet, there was Warlock. So, yeah, right there, 1992. Collecting Strange Tales, collecting Warlock. Yeah, these are the ones that I used to have. That is so cool. And the covers were done by Jim Starlin. Different covers here for the collections over the years, trade paperbacks, hardcovers, Marvel Premiere, omnibus editions, and a little bio here on the myth himself. Now, as far as the paper quality of this particular book, it is this thick, glossy paper. Let's look at the binding. You do have sewn binding. There's that eye. And, man, that is a good eye. For 360 pages, not that you really need it for a book like this, but the book was printed at the Donley printer. and it lays over really nice whether you're towards the very beginning or the very last few pages. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your confirmation email from CGN, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. That was the content, the page count, and build of this gallery edition. Let me know in the comments down below if you've picked up gallery editions in the past, if this is your first one, if you have fond memories of these particular stories, if you hope one day we get an oversized hardcover of these early Warlock stories, including all his earlier appearances in the pages of the Fantastic Four and Thor. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, ring that bell for notifications. We are on Spreadshop and Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. And more importantly, all of you, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.